All right, guys. So, good morning and welcome to our weekly industry update. Thank you guys for hopping on this morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully, you guys had a great weekend um, and are off to a good week. You guys know it's summer, it's summertime, right? It's officially summertime. We're in July. So, we are hopefully you're having a great summer. You're talking to people about buying and selling, because this is really the time when a lot of families decide to move when their kids are out of school. And so it's a really good time for you to really put yourselves out there and talk to people about their real estate plans. It's also a good time, even if they're not planning on moving this summer, because if they planned on moving this summer, more than likely they've already got initiated that process. But it's a good time to talk about what their plans are for next year or for the end of the year. Because right now is the time to start planning if you're looking at doing some real estate moves like in 4 to 6 months, right? That's typically when people start looking at their plans is like 4 to 6 months in advance because real estate it's not something that's like a spur of the moment decision that you make to buy a $700,000 home, right? That's something that you give thought to. That's something that you toss and turn about a little bit, and that you talk to your family about. And so, it's just not something that you up and decide. So typically, it takes a little more time for our folks to come to that decision that they're going to buy. And so, you really need to have those conversations in advance, as far in advance as you can. Which is why we want to stay in touch with our people, right? So let's talk about our weekly industry updates so that we could be educated on what's going on in the market and be able to give out advice and knowledge to our database, right? And to the people that we come in contact with. Um, I love when people ask me about the market these days because I'm like, I know what the market is doing because I'm watching it on a day-to-day basis and I'm watching it on a weekly basis, right? So yeah, go right ahead, ask me, what county are you talking about, right? Because I know. So it makes you feel, it puts you in a position of empowerment because you do understand what's going on. Be TCPA compliant. So that what does that mean? Do not call people on the do not call list. It's that simple because you can actually get your hand slapped in the form of a fine. All right, so let's talk about what's going on in LA County. LA County right now, for sale properties has gone up 0.1%. But remember, this is just the first 4 days of the month. This is comparing July 1st through July 4th, as compared to June 1st through June 4th, right? So this column right here, for the purposes of today, is probably not going to be as meaningful. But looking at year over year comparison, basically we're comparing the first half of the year to the first half of last year. And compared, we are down on for sale properties, which is properties that are currently on the market versus properties that were on the market last year at this time. We're down 7.1%. So we've got 7.1% less properties on the market than we did last year. Okay. Sold properties were down 41.1% as compared to last month, and down only 1.9% as compared to last year. So that's good. It's not a big dip. It is small, and it is something that we might be able to make up for, depending on how this summer goes, right? Our summer surge, if you will. Pendants are down 50.9% as compared to last month. Again, we're not going to focus on this, so I'm just going to give you the number and I'm going to gloss over it because it's only 4 days that we're looking at. And of those 4 days, one of them, well, actually two, because the Friday businesses were mostly closed, right? The third, and then the fourth was a holiday, and we don't close. We don't do any closings or anything on a holiday. And more than likely, you didn't go on the market on a holiday, right? We're not going to go on the market on a holiday. You would have went on the market a few days before. So with that said, I just don't believe that first 4 days is very significant at all. Um, so let's look at this, which is our year over year. Pendants are up 0.5%. That's great as compared to last year. Properties in escrow has gone up as compared to last year, 0.5%. Okay. New listings are down 70.6% as compared to last month and down 6.4% as compared to last year. So again, as compared to last year, we have less new listing inventory than we did last year. New developments, new properties coming on the market, they're 6.4% less than there were last year. That is significant for us because again, we are in an inventory deficit for the most part in most of our counties. So we need more inventory in order for buyers to have options, right? And we see this more so in Orange County than probably any county in the surrounding areas. Average active price, no change as compared to last month, and 0.9% increase as compared to last year. So on average in LA County, sellers are asking 0.9% higher than they did last year. They're receiving, however, they're selling for or closing for 1.2% less than they did last year. So we see a small level of depreciation in LA County as compared to last year. Now we know LA County is flipping huge, right? So the reality is that in LA County, you could be over what they were asking last year or what they were selling for last year, or you could be under by 4% or over by 4%. This number, you got to get hyper local, okay? Just simply because, yes, on average across LA County, we're down 1.2%. However, we know in some areas you're actually seeing appreciation, okay, not depreciation. All right. Months of inventory is 65.6% higher than it was last month. Last month, we were at 2.7 months of inventory, currently 4.5 months of inventory. But on average, we're down 5%. Last year, we were at 4 months of inventory, currently 3.8 months of inventory. I know I've got a newbie on, Vanessa. So, Vanessa, what this number means is that if we put no more inventory on the market, if nothing else came on the market, we would be able to sell all the inventory on the market within 3.8 months. Okay. Why is that significant? Because 4 months and below, 0 to 4 months, if you will, is called a seller's market. That means that the sellers have the advantage in that market because there's very little inventory. Okay. To meet the demand. This is all based on supply and demand. 4 to 6 months is called a normal market, which means we've got supply and demand. Buyers and sellers are pretty much equal. And then beyond 6 months is a buyer's market, which means buyers have the leverage. There's more inventory than there are buyers. Okay, so that's explaining this for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, average days on market has gone up 5.6% as compared to last month. Last month we're at 36 days, currently 38 days. As compared to last year, we have an increase of 8.1%. So last year we were at 37 days on market, currently 40 days on market. So we're staying on market a little bit longer than we were last year. So versus original list price, I'm just going to look at this number because this is ridiculous. We went from 98% of list price to 56% of list price. Something is wonky, as they say about that. So we'll have to look at that. But on average, as compared to last year, we are down 4.1%. So last year, sellers were receiving 97% of list price, currently 93% of list price. I'm assuming that has something to do with this huge deficit right here. I'm going to ask them about that because that's just really weird. But again, it's just the first 4 days. So there's probably one property in there that probably had a typo and ended up having to do a price change, and it caused this huge variance. Okay, but sellers are receiving currently 93% of their list price. Okay, all right, let's go to Orange County now. Sellers want to be receiving 95 and above. Typically, your seller, and we have the most influence over what our sellers receive, right? Because it's all based on the pricing strategy. So if we price the property right, the seller should be able to get 96, 97, 98, 100% of their list price. That's just the reality. But if we price it wrong, then we have to make a correction. Okay. Or if the market right now is shifting. So if the market shifts faster than our pricing strategy, then we also may have to make a correction. Let's look at the OC, Orange County. All right, for sale inventory is up 2.6% over last month and down 7.5%. So just like keeping in line with everything else, with LA County, we have less inventory than we did last year. Solds are down 47.6% as compared to last month. Wow, look at this, guys. For the first time, we are up 0.3% as compared to last year in Orange County. So just now, this is the first month, we're beating last year in terms of closings. 0.3% is not high, but we're not in the red anymore. So that's a very good sign. Pendants are also up 0.6% as compared to last year. Very good sign. So that's really, really good because again, last month before last, all this year, we've been trailing the market of last year in terms of closing in all our counties. So Orange County is the first to actually get over the hump. So that's great. All right. New listings are down 71.6% as compared to last month and down 6.4% as compared to last year. So no change among counties. We are down in terms of inventory, existing and new inventory. Average active price has gone up 0.3% as compared to last month and down 0.4% as compared to last year. So on average in Orange County, sellers are asking 0.4% less than they did last year. Okay, a little bit less than they did last year. However, look at this, they're receiving higher than they did last year. So unlike LA County, where prices are a little bit depreciating, right, to the tune of, I think, 1.2% or something like that, I said, it looks like in Orange County, prices have gone up about 3%, right? On average, we know appreciation is anywhere between 3 to 5% on average. If you look at across years, right, of data, we average about 4% on average of appreciation year over year. Currently, Orange County is sitting at 3%. Some areas in Orange County are probably higher, and some areas in Orange County is definitely lower. All right, months of inventory has gone up 87.7%. Last month we were at 1.7, currently 3.2. A 6.9% decrease overall. So last year we were at 2.9%, 2.9 months of inventory, currently 2.7 months of inventory. We are in a seller's market in Orange County. Okay. That's just the reality. Orange County has historically not had the level of inventory that other counties have had. Orange County is typically a highly desirable county to be in, and therefore properties get taken up quickly. Properties also sell slowly, meaning they don't come on the market at the rate that other counties do, right? You have a lot of folks who generationally take over their parents' home, live in it, and it just passes down. So that's typically the OC. So which is why you see that there's only 2.7 months of inventory there. Okay. All right. Average days on market has gone up 23.3%. We were at 30 days on market last month, 37 days on market currently, a 12.9% increase overall. We were at 31 days on market last year. We're at 35 days on market currently. All righty. Sold versus original list price has gone down 4.2%. We were at 96% of list price last month. We're at 92% of list price currently, and a 3.1% decrease overall. Last year, we were at 97% of list price. Currently, sellers are receiving 94% of list price. Very interesting that we would be at 94% of list price, considering, right, that we just talked about that we're in a seller's market. If you're in a seller's market, typically you see property values be in the upper 90s and or above 100, right? Because you're having the overbidding process. However, my guess is that, like we talked about, some areas in Orange County are way more desirable than others. So in those more desirable areas, you probably are having that overbidding effect, and you are having that over asking price effect. However, there's some areas that are not, and in those areas, you are probably having where the sellers are having to decrease their prices, and they're not getting overbid. They're staying on the market longer, and then they're decreasing their prices. And therefore you're getting the 94% of list price, right? On average, because this is averaging out those areas, those cities in Orange County. All right, let's look at Riverside County. Riverside County for sale properties has gone down 3.7% as compared to last month and down 7.7% as compared to last year. Okay. Um, so again, that keeps in the trend with all the other counties. Sold has gone down 37.5% as compared to last month. And it is down, Riverside is down 3.2% as compared to last year. So we are still lagging last year's market in terms of closings to the tune of 3.2%. Pendants, however, are up 2.4% as compared to last year. So that's a good sign. All right, new listings are down 8.9% as compared to last year. Okay, so that's no change across all the counties, is that our inventory is down. So sellers are not putting their homes on the market. Developers are not developing at the level that we were this time last year. Okay. Average active price has gone down 3.2% as compared to last month and up 1.8% as compared to last year. This is Riverside County. So sellers are asking 1.8% higher than they did last year. They're selling, however, for 0.1% lower than they did last year. So 0.1%, very small, right? Very small amount. Almost a flat market, because 0.1%, I mean, that's, you know, a tenth of 1%, right? So it is very small. So there it's almost a flat market in Riverside County. Months of inventory is a 2.8% decrease over last year. So 3.5 months of inventory last year, 3.4 months of inventory currently. So really not a lot of change. We still are looking at a seller's market in Riverside County. However, we're getting closer to that normal market, but right now this looks like a this looks like a seller's market. Okay. But remember, be hyper local, because in your specific area, if you got a buyer in Riverside County, I was in where was I in this weekend? Victorville. I was in Victorville. Victorville homes, again, you got to know your market. They're staying on the market longer. There's more inventory out there, right? Because again, it's way out in the boonies as far as I'm concerned. But I get it. My buyers, that's the other rule that I learned, or that I know, is that buyers do what? Buyers buy. Buyers buy. And if they really want to own a home, they're going to go and do what they have to do. And so my buyers were like, we got to go where our money goes. And their money goes to Victorville. So that's where they're going to buy. Now everybody can't do that. Totally get that part. But when you've got buyers who are motivated, that's what they do. So that's where they went. That's where their money's going to take them. And so again, we were out there. There's more inventory. Properties stay on the market longer. The buyers have a little more leverage out there. Okay. And this 3.4 months of inventory, although it looks like it's a seller's market, you've got to look at where in Riverside County you are and make sure that you know what the nature of the market is in that specific neighborhood, right? So you got to know your neighborhood. Average days on market has gone down 3.9%. We were at 51 days on market currently last month, currently 49 days on market. Last year, it was a 3.9% increase, because last year we were at 51 days on market, currently 53 days on market. Okay. So versus original list price, no change. Last year, sellers were receiving 96% of list price. Currently, sellers are receiving 96% of list price. One of the things that recently happened, my buyers wanted to put an offer on a property that we saw this weekend. Well, this 2 days before we saw the property, the sellers decreased the price $10,000. They went from $410 to $399,999. And what does that mean? All I'm saying is that yes, they decreased the price. Therefore, when my buyers came in, my sheet actually had 410 on it, but the price was $399,999. And so they had already done the price reduction. They did not want to decrease the price anymore, because they were like, we just did the decrease. And so we don't, they're trying to see if they're going to get more buyers to come to the property now that they've decreased by $10,000. So us making our offer, we actually looked at the comps and we offered asking price, because I would have taken off 10,000 had I come in and made that offer, if the price had been 410, because the property had been on the market for about 30 plus days. Okay. Not egregious days on market, but like for a month. Okay. But that's normal for Victorville, knowing your market. All right. San Bernardino County, let's go. Last county of the day for sale properties is gone up 2.9% as compared to last month, down 13.5% as compared to last year. Sold properties, and that's again, this is keeping in line with all the other counties where we just have less inventory, although we're in double digits here. A double digit deficit versus all the other counties, how the other counties were single digit deficits. So San Bernardino looks like it's suffering a little bit more than most. Sold are down 1.7% as compared to last year. So again, we have less closings in San Bernardino County, just like in all the other counties. Orange County is the only county that actually is seeing a rise in closings to the tune, I think, of 0.5%, was it? But San Bernardino County, again, most of these deficits are small. I think Riverside County had like in the fours, but San Bernardino and Los Angeles County, it's like, less than 2% deficit. So that's something that we are hoping that this summer we'll be able to rebound from, right? Pendants, which are in escrows, have gone up 0.6% as compared to last year. So that's great. Okay. All right. New listing inventory has gone down 10% as compared to last year. So again, on all fronts, we are just seeing less inventory on the market in all our counties. Average active price has gone up 0.8% as compared to last year. So sellers in San Bernardino County are asking 0.8% higher than they were last year. However, as you can see, they're receiving or they're closing for 1.2% less than they did last year. Not a big deficit, but still just something to be aware of. When sellers are asking you, like, how's the market? Your question is, well, it depends. What market are we talking about? What's the area that you're interested in, right? That's always going to be your answer, your response is it depends. What area are you interested in knowing about, right? And are you looking to buy or are you looking to sell, right? Because all those things matter when you're trying to give a response. All right. Months of inventory has gone down 12.6%. So we were at 4.8 months of inventory, currently 4.2 months of inventory. What does this tell you guys? You guys, we're in a normal market in San Bernardino County, right? We're at 4.2 months of inventory. That's a normal market. Okay. All right. Average days on market has gone up 10.6%. So last year we were at 47 days on market, currently 52 days on market, right? So days on market has gone up a bit. Now, typically when you see less inventory on the market, typically what that tells you is you're going to have less days on market, right? Because there's less inventory, you've got buyers swooping up whatever is there. What this is telling me is that we have less buyers, that we don't have as great of buyer demand as we expected. Because if we did, we would see that the inventory is getting taken up. But we don't have the level of buyers that we normally have. And why is that? Because interest rates are higher, right? And now we've got this what do you call it, ceasefire with the war. And so with that in mind, interest rates have started to go down a little bit, which has given us a little bit of release or a little bit of relief, I should say. But it's still not at the level that we anticipated when we started this year. We thought we would be in the mid fives, in the upper fives. We're in the mid sixes. We're at like 6.5 on a conventional. If you're FHA, I looked at Nancy's numbers this morning, I think, or yesterday. It was like 5.75 if you're FHA, which is decent. But the reality is that, that we were really thinking that we would be lower. So that's what's causing hesitancy on the behalf of our buyers, right? Sold versus original list price is 1% decrease. So last year we were at 98%. Sellers are receiving 98% of their list price. Currently, they're receiving 97% of their list price. So not not a big change. And again, we have a lot to do with what our sellers are going to receive, right? All right, now that's it for the numbers. Let's talk about our upcoming events. So today we have got Breakthrough 120. So we're going to be doing our calls right after this class. I see Marlena and Louisa are already here. So we're going to start doing our calls. I've got to prepare for our class tonight. I'm doing a earn while you work solution for dual career agents. And so I'm just finishing some final touches on that. So we've got group coaching was yesterday. Make sure that if you're a newer agent, mid-level agent, you want to chime in on group coaching. We had conversations in real play this morning at 9 with Diana. All of you should be on that, getting your practice in. We've got Dial for Dollars today with Victor. That's going to be at 2:00. And that's in class only. So make sure that you participate in that with Victor. Again, you guys, Victor's the #1 commercial agent in the area. Why would you not want to be there listening and learning from one of the best, right? And then tonight at 6:30 on Zoom, I am going to be hosting Earn While You Work. We're going to be talking about solutions for folks who are dual career agents. 70% of our roster, I'm not sure if you guys know, are dual career agents, guys. Okay. So a lot of our roster are dual career agents, meaning they have another job besides real estate. And so we're going to be talking about solutions so that you can take advantage of the opportunities that you have to actually earn a real estate income while you work and not take away from your work and being able to keep that going using minimal time taking minimal time away from yourself. Okay. All right. So that's what we're going to be doing. We've got our tech workshop tomorrow with Martha at 1:00. We have got broker hour on Wednesday and Thursday with Ed. Ed is going to be talking about like some all the new changes in our contracts. He's going to be doing a summary on that on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I think he's talking about leasing. Okay. So definitely we should be listening in on that, especially if you're a newer agent. This is very important that you're listening in on that. Okay. On June 23rd, Thursday, we are going to have AI social media mastery. It's virtual. So we're actually purchasing it for the office, and everybody could come in and watch it with us. It starts, I think this is telling me it starts at 8:30 in the morning. So we will be here. And it's going to be, these are Rachel Adams Lee. She's amazing with social media. And I might have talked about this with you, Vanessa, yesterday. But she's really, really good with social media. Yes, Vanessa, it was you that I talked about this. Rachel Adams believes in authenticity and being yourself, and letting people see you and your hobbies and all that good stuff. And so she's really powerful, has built 2 7-figure businesses, you guys. You guys know Patrick Ferry. He comes from the Ferry family, Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry, and he's going to be talking about creating content. So again, all these folks, Lauren Lucas is a boss at AI and using AI. So all these people have something to offer. It's going to be amazing, and we're going to be offering it here in office. Let's see. Ignite After Dark. If you guys need an Ignite class to take, Ignite After Dark is great. Diana, our very own Diana, taught Ignite After Dark a couple of weeks ago. And she is just a great person to learn from, which is why she is our productivity coach. So Ignite After Dark is our flagship new agent training. And it basically is every Tuesday, you guys, at 6:30. So if you do have a job and you do need to chime on at night, this is perfect. You get on, and take your notes and learn. This is the perfect time for it. Learning about your buyer presentation, listing presentation, how to build your business. It's how to do social media, how to lead generate, all those things it's teaching you in this particular class. All right. So sign on and register. Airbnb, you guys know you can make Airbnb. You can get Airbnb commissions by referring your clients. If they register their properties, you can earn a commission from Airbnb. It's MREANotes.com/Airbnb for you guys to register. Diana, please.
Yeah, just to go back on Ignite, actually, Ignite starts today, the first session again
Okay,
tonight.
great.
So if everybody can sign in, and that'd be great so they can get a head start. Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. You're welcome. Thank you. Awesome. All right. And then we have the Millionaire Real Estate Agent podcast. I don't know if this is the latest one. Actually, it's not, because there's a new one out there that just broke this Monday. Okay, yesterday. But you guys know I love the Millionaire Real Estate Agent podcast. I mean, millions of people do. It is a great podcast. It's typically about 40 minutes or less. You can listen to it in your car when you're driving to your next appointment. So listen in on the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It has a lot of great ideas on things that you could do to implement in your business to take your business to that next level. And then also the One Thing podcast is another one that I listen to. The One Thing podcast works on the person. It works on your performance, your personal performance, your mindset, right? It talks about relationships. It talks about what it takes internally to get to that next level. So the One Thing is a really great podcast to listen to. Mega Camp is coming up in August. That is going to be August 17th through the 20th. I believe the tickets are now $11.99. Okay. But it's a great investment in your business. Okay. The lineup is amazing. So this is the lineup for Mega Camp. These are just people who are extremely prominent, not in real estate necessarily, but in leadership, right? In leadership, in marketing, in lead generation. And these folks are going to be sewing into us, helping us to expand our mindset, helping us to think outside the box so that we can get to that next level in our businesses, right? And stop holding ourselves back. Think about ideas that are going to be a little bit more outside the box, right? And so this is the featured speaker list. Look them up. Take a picture of this. Look them up. Each of them have something to offer. You've got AI. You've got social media. You've got leadership. You've got Phil Jones is the master of like scripts and knowing about dialogues and what to say, how to overcome. How to connect with people and how to overcome objections. So a lot of great content is going to be given away at Mega Camp. We have Tuesday, July 28th. We are going to the Dodger game. Woo, woo. You guys saw them last night beat out the Colorado Rockies. They keep coming back. I never can change the channel. I tell my husband they'll be down 8 and I'll be like, I'm not going nowhere. Like, Dodgers are going to come back. Do you know who we are? Like, we're the flipping Dodgers. We come back. That's what we do. Anyway, so, but my son, you guys, he's bananas. So my son, when he was little, and I'm talking about 6 years old, at the park, he was a Colorado Rocky because, they have the little teams and they take on an MLB team, So my son's team happened to be the Colorado Rockies. Why every time the Dodgers play the Rockies, my son is like, yeah, he cheers for the Rockies. Like, that's his team. Like, dude, name a Rocky. You don't even know who they are. You just know you wore a purple uniform at one point at 6 years old. And to this day, he thinks he's like a Colorado Rocky. It's hilarious to me. I'm like, that childhood stuff really sticks to you, boy. But anyway, we are going as a group. What we're going to do is on July 28th, you've got to pay for your ticket in order to secure your place, just so we're clear. Okay. So you got to pay for your ticket because we have a set of 20 plus 10. So a set of 30 that that we've got. We need to sell them. I think we are almost sold out, at least of the 20. So make sure that you pay. What was I going to say? Oh, we're going to Eagle Rock. And at Eagle Rock at 4:00, we're going to go there and we're going to have like a tailgate. So we'll have some drinks, we'll have some food, we're gonna have a good time, and then from there we'll go to Dodger Stadium because I think it's very close to the Eagle Rock Market Center. Okay, so that's what we're doing there. We'll consolidate cars. That way we don't have to take all the cars to Dodger Stadium. We can hop in each other's car and go from there. Okay, and that's July 28th. So join us. If you got any questions, either call me or the front desk. Okay, because the front desk, Monica's really been handling everything. She's been doing a fabulous job. All right, industry news. Mediocre job data is no cause for alarm or celebration. So job growth, we always look at the jobs report for the economy to look at like how our economy is doing. Job growth was far more sluggish than expected in June, but it's not causing any panic. It's not causing any concern. Primarily about rising inflation. Okay. So the jobs report did not add as many jobs as we originally had anticipated. And so typically what happens is you see inflation go up, or short term things happen like interest rate hikes and things like that. But the Federal Reserve is remaining very steady right now. And that's just the reality. We've got a new Fed chair. That's the first thing. We got a new Fed chair. So our new Fed chair is really taking his time with making any predictions about the interest rates and if the Fed is going to cut the rate, increase the rate. He is in favor. Like typically, like if you look at Trump is, and we're not going to get in politics, but Trump did back this person. Okay. And I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name. If you guys know, shout it out. But Trump did back our new Fed chair. Our new Fed chair typically has been in favor of cutting the rate. Okay. However, the Fed is made up of a group of people. It's not just one person. Okay. So everybody has to vote that the rate would be cut or that it would be increased or whatever. But bottom line is when he got in, he was very clear that he's not going to make any knee-jerk reactions, that he is going to look at all of the data, that the Fed rate will be data driven. It won't be emotionally driven. And so, of course, I'm all in favor of things being data driven, not emotionally driven. But we'll start to see how that's going to pan out. But the job data is normally one of those factors that push the Fed to make moves, because the job data typically will also affect inflation. It can also affect short-term interest rates and things like that. So that's one of our factors. So we'll start to see what happens, and then and I'll be reporting on that to you guys on a weekly basis as the information becomes available. And then we'll start to see what the Fed's is going to, if there's going to be a reaction at all, or if there's any room, if there's any cause for a reaction at all. Once we see what how things go. So we are having a slower season. By all indications, we're just having a slower season. The only county that we saw today that was not slower was Orange County, right, in terms of sales. So because of that, it would be great for us to have some stimulation in our market, which would mean the Fed would cut the rate, which would mean interest rates could potentially go down. However, we're not that slow. We're down 2% or less. So that's not cause for like hair burning, everybody saying that the market is falling. It's not. It is not. It is not severe. So everybody's keeping an eye on these things. You guys know that the housing market is one of the most important economic factors. Economic is an important part of our economy, overall economy. So the Fed is looking at that very closely. National Association of Realtors, everybody has eyes on the housing industry. So, any questions? No, we good. Just so you guys know, I'm on vacation starting Wednesday actually. I'm doing something a little bit early. I'm gonna stop recording, you guys. Just hold on a second.